and welcome to Success Unlimited Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Simmons, and with us, we have a very special guest, Allen Mick. Allen, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, brother. Really excited about this podcast. Excited to join you and talk to you, man.
Excited to have you. So, in the pre-podcast talks, we talked about a little bit of you're from that you run National Claim Advisors.
Yes.
What is National Claim Advisors?
So it's a law firm. Yeah. And to be fair, I run more of the business side of it. Okay. I don't do anything as it pertains to the attorneys. I'm not an attorney. I'm not trying to be Mike Ross off of Suits and practice UPL. So the attorneys stay in their lane and they're absolutely amazing.
That's an official disclaimer. I'm not an attorney.
Official disclaimer. I'm not an attorney and I don't manage attorneys. So.
And then you also work and you started with one of your childhood friends, Just Share Media. So what is Just Share Media?
Yeah, it's more of a tech company because it's a SaaS, right? Software as a service. And the software is actually the largest home service library of stock videos there is, right? So it's really the only place in existence. So we say largest, but it's probably the only one, right? But it is the only place you can go if you're in home service and get real roofing videos that are stocked, or solar videos or any home service. Because other than that, it's a guy actually with your button up in a hard hat and a clipboard, and he's on a roof. And it just makes no sense. And they're not authentic. They're not real videos. Everything that we've created with Just Share Media, we've filmed real roofing jobs, real solar jobs, real HVAC jobs. And we've created a stock library out of those. So you
all these drone shots and they're kind of going up over the roof from the top of the house, the back of the house, and commercial projects. And
yeah, it's got drone incorporated. Not to throw any stones or anything, but we think just drone footage is boring. So you got to have a mix of all different types of footage to make for that entertaining infotainment type video. So we actually hire videographers, like really high skill trained videographers, and we've got a network of them all across the nation. And they're the ones filming the job. So they've got those big, nice cameras that they're carrying around. They're crawling on roofs. They're using the drone footages before, afters, just all kinds of cool incorporated. We even have animated. We've got animated ones on there as well. So just anything you could ever imagine video-wise, we have in a stock platform, and as low as $99 as opposed to thousands. That's what we do.
Awesome. So if someone just licenses the videos and they can use them in the promo videos or just do whatever they want to do with them.
Yeah, it's anywhere you would use videos, it's got a video for that.
Awesome. Wow. I'll have to check that out. I wasn't aware of how niche that was. But that's really awesome. That's pretty cool. So your history, if you could sum up your work history and success after success that you've had, I would not do it justice. I can summarize it, but I would probably butcher it. Would you mind going through a brief history and telling the audience how you went from success to success?
Yeah. Success in my mind is a changing thing, right? It's always where your goals are and what you want and what that success is. I'm optimistic, but I'm like always, and I'm proud of what I've accomplished. But, I run, Matthew McConaughey had a speech at, I think it was the Oscars or the Emmys. He talks about the man in the mirror, right? That's the one you're always trying to beat, and you can never catch him. So my definition of true success, I'll never reach it because I'm a perfectionist. But if you go off of, other people's gauges of success, I'm sure I've achieved that in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different businesses and industries. But I was lucky enough to have mentors that I deemed were successful. And I've had different mentors all throughout my life. And a few of them, like my father, throughout my entire life, and my mother throughout my entire life, because success is in business and it's personal and it's with your faith and everything. It's all encompassing. Brief, quick rundown, 10,000 foot view. At every job and every challenge that I've ever done in my life, I always want to be the best. I have a very competitive nature. So I don't care if we're walking down the street, if we're doing anything, everything's a race, everything's a competition. So when it started out, if I was running permits, I wanted to be the best permit runner in the office. If I was holding a ladder for a guy that was a sales rep, I want to be the ladder holder for the best sales rep in the office. I want to learn as much as possible because one day I want to beat him. And that's where I started. I started in the roofing industry, and it was more storm chasing than roofing. And I worked my way from at the bottom as you can on the roofing contractor side. I was not shingling roofs. I didn't start there because we always subbed everything out to crews. So I worked my way up. The first business that I worked my way up from was my father, my uncle Marty, and my LLC all owned, at the time, it was probably the largest national roofing storm chasing company in the nation. And worked my way up through sales rep to sales manager. And then I switched teams and went to go work with my dad and my uncle LLC at Aspen Contracting, selling sales manager, worked my way up to general manager. At salesman, I look back and I realize what I could have done versus what I did. And it's very lopsided. Like one of my favorite storms, it was my first storm that I ever worked. I sold over $1 million in 2010, right? And I know damn well I should have sold 3.5, 4 million in that storm. The opportunities were there. And I was 19, 20 at the time, and I was partying really hard, as but I was successful in my partying too. Like everything I do, up here.
In your pocket, and you had a good time.
Yeah. And, I did a podcast recently with Cam Wade, and we talked about from the ground up, getting into massive detail and telling every story. And I only got so far because his camera died. And I got till I was a general manager. And up until that point, success was a big driving factor, but it was more the party, right? That's what I cared about more. And I look back and it did change. My goals and what I wanted and my success in life did change. And I was laughing with Cam. I was like, man, somebody's going to watch that podcast and think Allen Mick, he just raging alcoholic partier. It's like, no, that was 20 years ago, guys. That's 20 years ago. I definitely outgrew that, but I'm glad that I did. People always say like, save money and do this. Don't do that. If I go back to my 20s, and for me, I would never want to live a life where I look back and wish I had. I am married with kids and I'm very happy in my life. And I never have to just take a second look and imagine, I wish I did this or I wish I did that. No, I lived my life to the fullest in my 20s and spent that roofing money as fast as it came in. And I've got tons of stories to tell there. So yeah, back to success, right? Successful throughout the roofing industry. Was blessed to keep moving up. I was blessed to be in a company where I had mentors around me and people around me that gave me an opportunity to grow. I was one of the first founding members of Mad Sky, which was MRP, which is now renamed. It was sold and renamed. And that was a lot of fun. I worked my way up there. I was one of the vice presidents. So leader of that company. Now, all three of these companies that I was involved with were over 100 million a year. And I don't know the exact figure that Mad Sky sold for, but it was over that amount. And so being a leader, being in leadership positions at all of these companies taught me a lot. And obviously that took a lot of massive success to get there. Again, I look back and I know what I could have done better. And I know I could do better today than I did back then. And from there, I started my own roofing company, pulled my father out of retirement because I didn't know everything. And my biggest weakness at the time was probably my age. I believe I still look young. I like to think that, but I looked really young in my 20s. So it was really tough for me to sell big jobs. And we went on for 5 years and did over 20 million in 5 different locations. And then it was just time to exit the roofing industry. It was COVID times, my wife, my kids, I didn't want to travel. It just wasn't the right thing for my life storm chasing anymore. So exited that, and then Just Share Media, National Claims Advisor came in the picture. So
That's awesome. So, man, to go back when you said man in the mirror. So success is always a journey. It's always an elusive figure trying to catch the success, and everyone defines success differently. For some, it's at 9 to 5. For some, it's that Ferrari and house, and for some, it's just time freedom, right? And then you mentioned your mentor being your mother and father, and a whole bunch of other things in between, which I'll get back to. What was maybe one or two the top biggest reasons for your success?
Definitely everybody around me, not myself. I believe God gives us all the ability to achieve great success. He instills that with us on birth and gives us the ability. And luckily, he gave me the ability and then put me around the people to train me and guide me. And, my mother and father have been the two main mentors throughout my entire life, obviously, because they're with me throughout my entire life. And I'm always trying to achieve and learning from them. But then at different stages of my life, I've always had different mentors. And those mentors have all taught me different things at different stages. It's my first sales job at RSA. One of my mentors was Tim Sheehan. He was my first general manager at the time, and he was absolutely amazing. He taught me so much and in a whole different way than I had learned it from my father. And same thing moving on. My uncles, Marty Haight, my uncle L.C. Nusback, and you can also learn a lot of what to do from a mentor, but you can also learn what not to do from a mentor, whether that's things they teach you or things they show you the right way and the wrong way. The industries that I came up with were always behind the times. So there was a lot of shady, gray, dark things that being done.
It's catching up. It's getting better.
Yeah, it's getting way better. It's getting better. That's just the world in general. But yeah, so it's catching up. So I learned a lot of what not to do, what to do, things like that. So yeah, I guess that it's a two-pronged question. Obviously, God instilling me the ability to grow, and then my mentors helping guide me.
So on the mentorship, what defines a good mentor?
A good mentor is somebody willing to give. I think anybody willing to give, you have to be willing to listen. And that person needs to know what the hell he's talking about. I mean, he does it, I guess. You have people that are just more motivational, and that could be a motivation. But to me, it's somebody that's done it. When I was there was a brief stint in my life when I was doing commercial development. Obviously, I know nothing about that, but the man that was teaching me, that was mentor at the time, is one of the largest commercial development guys in the Midwest. And I learned a ton from him. But I would not have learned anything if he didn't know what the hell he was doing or talking about. He had already achieved success in that niche, right? So I think that's what it is. Like, if you're looking for a mentor, they better be successful in your definition of success. Maybe not theirs, but at least yours in what you're trying to learn from them and gain from them. And then they've got to be willing to give that mentorship back to you. It's got to be motivated. They have to want to teach you, to train you, to make you better. You have to want to learn it, and they have to know it.
Yeah, exactly. So I always, when I look for a mentor, I look for someone in life where I want to be, that has, if it's money, if it's time, if it's spirituality, I look for someone in life that has fruit on the tree, so to speak.
I like that.
But the saying is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
The teachers are always there. It's just whether you're ready or not, whether you're ready to receive and to learn and to listen, like you said. So, well said. I didn't realize that from RSA and Aspen, there was that family connection there.
Yeah.
I never realized that. I just learned that. That's new to me. If you're not from the roofing industry, Aspen Roofing was probably one of the, if not the original, we'll call it storm chasing, even though it has a negative connotation, or can have in some people's view. it's a way to scale and scale your a company from a local roofing company to a national company, or even paintless dent repair, or any kind of company that's dependent on storms to grow. But it's a way to scale very, very rapidly, very profitably if it's done right. And Aspen Roofing was probably the first big success the nation had, and that was as little as maybe 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
That
and
was
it's Aspen Contracting. It's the Silverleaf one out of Lee Summit, so which is the biggest Aspen. But there is Aspen Roofings that are very successful. There's one out of Minnesota. It's a very large, very successful national company. Now Aspen, it's kind of weird because RRSA, which was my father, Marty Haight, and LC Nussback, and that was what we call sets or joint ventures. So they would nationally storm chase, and then they would use the identity and partner with a local company. And so they would be local. When LC left, he started Aspen Contracting. And that became one of the first, not the first, but one of the first, if not the largest first, residential only large storm chasing company that was the same name everywhere. So those are the two big differences. The family dynamic is pretty interesting, and there's some tangled webs all throughout that, as you would imagine.
Yes. And it's still ongoing to this day.
Yeah,
a little bit. So is that talking about the business model of licensing and becoming quote unquote local overnight? Is that model dead, or is that do roofers still use that model successfully?
It's very much alive. There's still roofers that use it successfully. Hell, if you really look at business structures and different business philosophies, that's what the private equity platforms are doing right now. Are they not? Instead of running into the storm and going to the storm, they're buying the company. But that's a local company that they're purchasing using their money instead of the sweat equity that becomes a storm. So I would argue that the private equity model, if they're not changing the name, so Apple is obviously not that model because they're changing the name to Apple. Now they may take a couple of years to do it, but they're doing that. Whereas look at somebody who's doing it very successful, like Raymond Little and Perimeter. They're keeping the same name, and it's powered by Perimeter. That is, to me, as close to the old sets as you can still do it. Now, there are still people out there that do it the old way completely. It's never a advertised thing. So those companies like to hide who they are when they get there for a lot of different reasons. But the main reason is they don't want their competition bad-mouthing. They don't want them, that's not that local company anymore. It's the company out of Texas doing it. You get a bad rap from it, and a lot of people do it the wrong way. They do it, just to sell as much as possible, screw over the company owner, run away, and leave them in a pile of shit. But that's not. There's people that do it the right way as well.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting because you look at private equity, and this is a topic that is a hot topic within the contracting roofing industry right now. Even within public adjusting, attorney firms, private equity is pouring into all facets of the insurance claims and insurance funded job industries, right? And with the amount of money that's coming in, how does a small guy survive? How does the mom and pop roofing company survive against the giants that are being created?
Yeah, branding. One word: branding. It's loyalty. It's trust. It's holding it down. Look, I've been what I am more than anything in life is a business strategist. That's my role. I love business strategy.
Likewise, that's awesome.
If anybody knows business strategy, this is coming for a long time. We've been in the rapid expansion phase of the industry for the last 15 years, and that is coming to an end. And when it comes in, what happens when that bubble bursts and it condenses? There's going to be major players that take giant ends of the market share. And if you want to know what's going to happen in your industry, just look at industries similar to yours, and that's going to be your best prediction, right? Business principles are universal. It doesn't matter what business it is, what structure, what industry, they're all universal. So you just follow those. No, it's not going to run the mom and pops out of town. If the mom and pops do what they're supposed to do, they give good quality service, they build a good brand, they become well known. Now, if you're a mom and pop shop in a major metropolitan area, that could affect you, because now you're in Dallas Fort Worth and it's hard to expand that area of operation because you're expanding into more city, and people like that don't really care about that local place. So Dallas Fort Worth, I compare it all the time. DFW is a major metropolitan area, but you go to any of the suburbs and you have a mom and pop shop there. I'm from Waxahachie, Texas. If Ellis County, Waxahachie, you're not going to impede a private equity company into there unless you buy one of those mom and pop shops, which now becomes a huge plus. If you're a mom and pop, you have an exit, right? An exit strategy is key, and you need to build your business. I think it's the best thing possible, because even if you don't have a plan to exit, you always have a plan to exit. You're going to pass it down to your kids. That's an exit. You're going to die someday, unfortunately.
You're going to exit it via death, estate, your kids, if they even want it. I think it was the rule of thumb was 85, or maybe it's more than that. 85% of businesses never get sold. There's no exit strategy. So a business, the wealth, the value that was created, the brand, it evaporates. It's gone.
Yeah. So you need to have an exit strategy no matter what. It doesn't have to be selling. It can be passing it down. It can be selling to your general, So yeah, they're not pushing the mom and pops out unless the mom and pops push themselves out through fear,
Yeah. I look at another industry that is, Home Depot just bought out SRS.
Yep.
I mean, SRS leapfrogged, I think leapfrogged ABC as far as growth and as far as a revenue, but no one's ever heard of SRS. They've heard of ABC, but they don't know SRS because they follow the perimeter roofing model.
Yep.
So they bought a supply company. They didn't rebrand it. They kept it the same. They just put more branding for that local place in play. And they grew the company just through M&A or mergers and acquisitions, acquiring companies that were close to being either exited by a pre-planned sale, or they were failing. They bought it for pennies on the dollar, or they bought them out of bankruptcy. But they went in and he successfully beat ABC and Beacon for the rights to buy that company in court, or through they had a really good M&A model.
Yeah, and that's essentially what it can be. And one thing I want to back up, and everybody talks about private equity, but you know what chases private equity? It's angels, right? Angel investors, VCs, all that. You look at different stages of exits, and people are going to want those big multipliers. All it takes, and it's happened, there's enough data around it. It may wait until the first one goes public, right? But I guarantee by the first private equity that goes public, which is a race right now, there's multiple getting close. You're going to see VCs and angels. And that's going to be great for mom and pops, because that's an infusion of money going into the companies. I mean, look, I don't talk to any of the major organizations all that much about what they're doing, but it's pretty easy to guess what any of the major roofing organizations that put on a show. I don't want to call any of them out, but when they start talking about investing into companies and let me train you this, what are they doing? They're trying to get a piece of that company, help that company grow, and then introduce that company to private equity, and then sell it, and then sell it again in IPO. What happens if I'm an individual running a consulting firm and I'm training roofing companies how to grow? If I'm smart, I'm going to grab a chunk of that roofing company. Even if it's a point, that point at every liquidation event becomes a ton of money. And that's the world. Look at tech, look at all these other industries. That's what happens there. And it's just coming here. So everybody just needs to be really smart, and don't do anything dumb. Don't jump on the first bandwagon and think this is that or this is the other. Do your research. Know that everybody's intentions don't match their integrity, and vice versa. Be really weary of a lot of people wanting to put on this mastermind about going public and look at the people speaking and what are their incentives, right? Are they trying to sell to you? Are they telling you stuff? So just be smart when it comes to all of that, and you'll get on the right path.
Yeah. Look at their culture. Ask what their long-term plans are, because culture is everything. If you don't mesh the culture, you're out of that company, and you're miserable, and your employees that you're bringing on along behind you are miserable. Just not a good.
Leading it. What the hell do they know about storm catching or storm chasing all across the nation?
Right.
So very few people know that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I was going to touch on something you touched on. I was going to go a little bit deeper for folks who may not be aware, if you're listening to this or watching this, the different levels, right? You talked about equity and VCs and angel investors going public and hedge funds. So there's something called a multiplier, right? It's a multiplier of EBITDA. EBITDA is the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. And if you're a small company, say, 3 to 5 million, if you sell your company, you might be able to get 1x, maybe 2x, maybe 3, depending on what type of industry, type of company you are, what your profit margins are. The larger your company is, the more money you can get for it, because there are fewer and fewer companies that are your size. So it's fewer $100 million companies than there are $1 million companies. $1 million companies are a dime a dozen. There's only a handful that are 100 million, even fewer that are a billion, only fewer that are 100 billion. So the higher your revenues, higher your earnings, the more you can command as far as a price, because the scarcity, it's supply and demand. And so the overall model or play is you have 10 small companies at 10 million a piece. You give them a 4x multiplier on your EBITDA, and you create a company that's worth 100 million. Now you are in a position to go get 10x EBITDA combined. That's the roll-up game and the play that you're referencing. And I was just trying to keep it really simple for someone listening that may not understand what that model, what you were referring to. And at a certain point in time, equity is going to sell it to hedge funds who are going to take it public.
Yeah,
that's where all the money is.
Yeah, I mean, to make it real simple, it's like they're buying businesses and then they're reselling those businesses for more money, because when they push them together, they become more valuable and they sell it for more money. It's no different than buying anything else. Business principles are universal. If you pretend your company's a roof or a house or something and you're just selling it to somebody, make it more profitable, make it where people want to sell it. Break things down to make it simple. Everything in business and life is simple. It's not simplistic, but it is simple. So build moats around it. If we talk about business strategy, I love getting into moats and things like that. Things that really make you stand out and better than your competitors, like a great brand, like great technology, like anything like that they cannot break into. If it's just my thing always is with roofing, I would be real weary. If it was my money, I wouldn't go around buying roofing companies, right? Because roofing companies is only as good as the sales reps and the loyalty of those sales reps. It would be really tough to buy into a roofing company. That's why you've seen a lot fail, because at the end of the day, the loyalty of those reps are more with the people. I mean, I was sales rep at a traveling roofing company. The person I was most loyal to was my general manager, the next man up when it came to leaders. So all it takes is that man to leave, and now you've lost all those sales reps. You lost that entire thing. So you're going to purchase a company that's success is predicated on its salespeople that can leave any day.
That's right.
It becomes a real challenge.
100%. And again, it's so hard to look. It's so important to look at the culture of whoever is purchasing the company.
Yeah.
Because if the culture is toxic and managers leave, you're lost. It's a shell. Yeah. So going to fast forwarding, you have had massive experience with national roofing companies multiple times, which not many people can say. There's probably a handful I can say that.
Yeah.
and you've went to tech, and then you came back to kind of run the business arm of a law firm.
Yep.
What prompted you to make that change?
Opportunity, right?
Going from a tech and national company to an attorney firm. I don't want to say opportunity. I'm a little confused by that.
So essentially, when I left roofing and being a business strategist, like I'm obsessed with efficiencies in business and solving problems. The biggest problems you solve, the more money that follows it, right? So I know from my experience in the roofing industry, I know all the problems. I know every problem with every roofing contractor, every homeowner, every commercial property owner, all those problems. And there's a long list of problems. Just Share Media was a solution to a problem for roofing contractors, right? National Claims Advisors is a solution to a problem with commercial property owners. And commercial property owners, there's a lot of big money behind that. It also solves a problem, although indirect, for commercial contractors. Huge problem. So National Claims Advisors is a huge solution to a huge problem if you put the dollar figures behind it, because where's the money in roofing? It's in commercial. We were talking on the last podcast and that I was on, and we were talking about where, what would you sell if you could start over, or where's opportunity lie? Opportunity lies with the most money if we're talking business, doesn't it? If you're a salesperson, you should want to sell the most expensive item. I can tell you right now, I've seen hundreds, and I can't talk about a lot of this kind of stuff because there's a law firm, there's attorney-client, but there's $100 million claims, there's $65 million claims, there's $300 million claims. Right. Where else are you going to sell something that's $300 million? Private jets, maybe a skyscraper. Can you sell skyscrapers? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But there's very few things in the world that you can sell for that amount of money. So it's opportunity to solve a problem, opportunity to monetize that solution, and it's just massive opportunity, and it's exciting. It's like I never in life thought I would be in the legal industry in any way, shape, or form. So the opportunity for excitement, the opportunity to solve it, the opportunity to kind of build it. That's why I took this. And we didn't shut down Just Share Media. It's a tech company, so you shouldn't have to run it, but we have an amazing team running it. One of my partners happens to be one of the founding members of DoorDash, so he's got a little bit of experience.
Yep, for sure. That's a little bit of street cred, as they say, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. So what problem does NCA solve?
Getting your property paid for by the insurance company. So that's the biggest thing is insurance carriers. I mean, the whole storm side, the insurance restoration side of the business is up to the insurance company, because they go up, they sign up for a policy, hail, fire, flood, wind, whatever type of loss it is, damages that property. And then you have to trust now the insurance company is going to honor their end of the contract and pay to replace it. And what you find in residential, most people know residential, so the insurance companies don't do a really good job of holding up their end of the contract as a whole. They deny, they slow pay, they underpay, whatever it is, whatever tactic it is. And that can be for a lot of different reasons that aren't necessarily nefarious. Not like they're out to get anybody. They're a business as well. They need to make money, but they have challenges as well. And there's a lot of problems that's not their fault over there. I don't want to get into that, but there is. And a lot of it's underwriting or good people that just don't exist anymore and adjusting and this, that, and the other. So that creates massive problems for commercial property owners, because it's tough for residential and probably $10 million claims, $50 million claims, though it just gets compounded, right? So all of those issues become even bigger. And what we do is we use law firms to deal with the insurance company, or lawyers, not law firms. We use lawyers to deal with the insurance company to get those claims approved. Because why? Because lawyers are the highest authority level in our industry. They just really are. You've got contractors who are storm damage experts. You got public adjusters who are policy experts. And then you got lawyers who can do all of the above and bring in experts.
Right.
So that's the problem it solves. And it's unique in the way that it does it, because what we charge less than everybody else as law firms. We're a 10% contingency fee as opposed to a 40. And we actually are incentivized not to go to litigation. We're trying to settle these claims pre-litigation. We are a national pre-litigation law firm that focuses on commercial. So if we're not incentivized to go to litigation by money, which all other law firms are, the minute that they go from pre-litigation to litigation, they're tripling or quadrupling their pay. Tripling your pay at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars, that is too strong of a financial incentive to trust anybody not to be biased, bottom line.
Correct.
And that's the difference between us and everybody else. And I would say the major difference is the people. We have people like Jason Quimby, Cam Wade, Eric Vickers, Justin Newton, like all these amazing people in the industry, all under one roof. I mean, that at the end of the day, we could be exactly like everybody else. And I'd still say we're the best because of the people that we have.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. You do have some powerhouse folks with knowledge and experience. It's an amazing what y'all have built. So we are going to be winding this down, but I want to ask you some questions that pertain to success and helping the next guy coming up behind you, right? So if you could go back 10, 15, 20 years, what advice would you give a younger you to help you kind of shortcut the success that you've had?
Man, that's always a tough one because there's so many things. I'm such an optimist that I'm happy with what got me here. Like I really am. Like it's not one of those things where yes, there's multiple areas I could have done better, but I can't not be happy with where I'm at today. I love my life today. I love my wife today. I love my kids today. I love my businesses today. There's little things like, invest more money in smarter places, but then I would take away the money I spent on crazy, wild stuff and I wouldn't get those experiences and I maybe be tempted to do them today. I guess I would just say, I wish I would have got more personally. I wish I would have got more serious about the business side of it earlier. I wish I wouldn't have let my age, kind of be that was always my Achilles. To me, it was my, I was very self-conscious about my age. I was afraid that I was too young to go into big business faster, to put anything in my name, to do this, to do that. So I kind of always leaned on older people because I figured that gray hair was more valuable than anything sitting in a boardroom. So I wish I would have gone back. Yeah. I wish I would have gone back and taken those next steps a little bit faster. So don't be afraid to reach up and take that next step faster. Because of any of those fears, anything that's trying to stop you. For me, it was my age. For somebody else, it could be any problem. It could be monetary. It could be anything else. But don't let anything stop you. If you've got a dream or you've got a goal or you've got a business that you want to do or the next level in your business to scale, don't let anything stop you. Go ahead and go for it.
Awesome. And the last question is, if you could take anybody to dinner, from whether it be in the past or even present day, who would you take to dinner and what would you talk to him or her about?
Man, that question. Okay, so my first mind goes to family members, right? So you would really want a family member to spend time with them, but I am such a loyal person. I can't say one grandpa and not the other. I can't do something like that. I think that'd be so screwed up that my other one's gonna be up there in heaven, like, well, damn asshole, you're not my favorite grandson anymore. So I'll have to pick somebody historic, and who better than Jesus, right? I would say Jesus Christ.
You picked the perfect example. The perfect person. You picked the
I can
perfect
ask
person.
him anything. He's got all the. Yeah. So without a doubt, it wouldn't even be a question. And I know that's probably cheating because such a perfect person, the only perfect person. But I mean,
Only perfect person.
cannot.
Yeah.
If you give me the option, it's going to be that.
That's awesome. Well said. You're the first person actually has said that.
Oh, really?
So it surprised me. Yeah. But that would be probably one of my first options as well, because who better that knows all past, present, and future, right?
Yeah.
Knows all
Yeah,
history.
future.
Great. Yeah. Well, Ellen, thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure. I love the talk on the business strategy, the success strategy, wealth of knowledge. I'd love to have you back on in a few months and talk about some other things that we just didn't get around to. But thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.